This is just on Jonty James. Hey legends, this conversation is with a close friend of mine, Terry Barber. He is a multi-instrumentalist sound guru. Unfortunately, this episode, the main sound recording failed. However, we have the backup from the camera recording, so please hold on tight because this is an awesome conversation and would love you to hear it.
All right, Jonty, here we are.
Okay, so this is Just On with Jonty James.
Just on with Jonty James.
Just On with Jonty James. And we have the one and only Terry Barber, who has been a really phenomenal support for me over the past year and a half, almost 2 years, with running our events. And you have shown up consistently to our events and also to our free community events and also to our monthly full moon events, where you have utilized your incredible talents to make some incredible sound with the didgeridoo, with the drums, with the hand pans, sound bowls, flickers, shakers, all sorts. And within all of that, we've been able to run some really incredible events, and I'd like to think that we've supported a lot of people on their journey over this time. So first of all, I just want to say thank you very much for your support and also your dedication and commitment to giving back to the community and just continually showing up to share your gifts. So Terry, do you want to share a little bit about yourself and I guess how you got into all of this? How did you get into creating sound and getting to the point where you can play so many different instruments and you have such an ability to intuitively tune into music and know what is just needed for the right time and the right space?
Well, big question. Where to start? I guess music for me has been some say not a lifelong journey, but more of an admirer of people that could have got up and been in front of hundreds of tens of thousands of people and perform. I used to sit there as a teenager and go to my favourite bands and watch them thinking, geez, I'd love to be on stage and be able to do that in some way, in some shape, some form, and what is that all about when you do that? And so over the years and through different circumstances and breakthroughs, breakdowns, breakups, all sorts of different things happening in my life led me to a point. First started playing with the didgeridoo and learning what that was all about. No one's taught me how to play. No one's virtually showed me. I've sat alongside of a couple of people and just had conversations around different things. But it's a matter of sitting and for 3 months till I really got my first breath within playing that didgeridoo or yidaki. And then from that point on, it just led me on an amazing journey that's of wonderment, joy, sadness, emotional feelings, ups and downs, ins and outs, ins and rounds, and many different things. I'm also qualified as a body therapist, and I worked on a lot of deep cellular memory trauma and that sort of stuff in my early days as well, way before sound came into it. And it's just evolved. I've had my times with it, I've had my times away from it. It hasn't always been the thing that I've always chased. It's not something that I chase, it's something that I practice. It's kind of like an inner sacred place or an inner sanctum inside of me that I'm able to connect with a different part of myself in there, and I enjoy that and I allow myself to express that through sound, whether it be the didgeridoo, yidaki, tongue drums, crystal bowls. Sound is music to me because it's my soul just releasing and engaging itself in a way where it finds its freedom about itself, and I can breathe into there, and this expression of myself that I just kind of it is what it is. It is what it is. It's made, it's changed, it's done a lot over the last 20 years. Yeah.
Wow, that's phenomenal. My take on your gifts and what you have to offer are that your soul or spirit, your own spirit just working through you. And I think you've got to the point, from my point of view, the point where there's so much skill and so much practice that what flows out of you is, it's just like your pure spirit, pretty much. When you turn up to events, I know I wasn't supposed to say the word event, but when you're there and you've got your instruments, what are the feelings that are coming through you when you're playing your instruments?
I don't know if they're feelings or such, or messages, or I don't know if it's spirit talking through me. My idea is if I'm asked or invited or I need to turn up, I turn up. I never really have an idea of what I'm going to do or how I'm going to do it. And then I just allow myself to go into that space. And whether I'm nervous or I'm happy, whether I'm sad, whatever's happening is coming through at that moment. I'm well aware that it does something. What it does, I don't really fully have to understand. I have to fully know what that does. Whether that's healing, or whether that's releasing, or whether that's making people happy, or whatever that's connecting with. I don't believe there's a science or a logic to it. There's just a way that I'm connecting with a part of myself. That's something that I've learned, something that I go into. And I still get a little bit nervous occasionally, which is good. I feel like I'm alive. But for the best part of it, I'm excited, but very subtly keep that close to my heart. And I think I've been pretty blessed myself to when I first come across yourself and Alan, and how I met you and the vision that I've seen actually prior to all that, and how that's outplayed, and how I've stuck to this, which is when I first met you guys. I think I briefly told you the story that I couldn't stop. I stopped playing music. I've been playing for so many years that I actually stopped. It's been over 20 years now. I actually stopped being creative. I stopped doing my artwork. I stopped doing my music. I was terrified to sit on the ground, not for the reason that I couldn't sit on the ground, so I couldn't get back up again. My body was fractured. My mind wasn't still. It wasn't quiet. It was all over the place. I wasn't in a good state, mental health or in a healthy physical state. And by approaching Alan, having a bit of a chat with him and saying, come and join, it got me back into that in a certain way. And it was a vision that I seen that's kept me going. It is the people around that vision, but it's the vision that sits in the back of me, which is a piece of land that sits up at Tullabudgera Creek that keeps me going and going and going and going. And somehow that land talks to me, somehow that land speaks to me, somehow that I connect energetically with and play in and honour whatever that is, and it brings me to a state of peace, happiness, joy, freedom, a closer sense of soul connection with myself. I don't do things to want anything in return. I'm not giving and receiving, because if I'm receiving, then I'm giving, and vice versa. I don't have a giving and receiving thing. I'm just doing something, and I get both in the same. It's like this entitlement of something that I have. It's been many years now. Ask me some questions that I didn't want to answer. Whatever's happy your mind.
Yeah, I really love your story and just appreciate so much what you're sharing. I know you've been through some pretty big challenges and, really big life-changing experiences in your life. I'd like to just understand a little bit more around how you've shaped your values and what are some of the defining moments in your life that have really defined who you are and what you stand for.
Okay. So I guess a lot of what I do, not just in the sound but in my artwork and what I'm about, it's come from a lot of struggles. It's come from a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of deep, looking at myself. I wouldn't call them shadows. A lot of hard line kind of stuff. What I didn't know I was looking for, or what I was looking for. But I'm trying not to explain this. the richness of where the sound comes from, or my music, as I will call it, comes from, is by getting up, breathing every day, and just moving forward, and just keep getting up, keep getting up, keep turning up. I have the right to be happy. I have the right to be free. I have the right to express myself. I have the right to say what I want to say. I have the right to feel in all of these places, and explore that time and time again about myself. And a lot of things too, just because I'm older doesn't mean I'm wiser. It could be far from it. Older just means looser.
Looser. I like the sound of that.
It doesn't mean wiser. It just means you've lived through a lot of stuff, and hopefully that everyone around you, if they have us, whatever times they have, or whatever we do, that people still get up every morning and don't let whatever adverse things are going on in life run you. You're much more stronger than that. What I wish for, what I desire for, while I'm doing this sort of stuff, is for people to be who they want to be and live the life they want to live, or however they want to live that, and keep them on track. Keep people on track. That's how I met you, Jonty. I watched you change in the last 2 years from a person who was doing what they were doing, then go, this is what I want to do. You're on track. That keeps me on track.
Yeah.
Keeps everybody else on track. So it's not just me doing something. It's a shared. It's very much a shared thing. If you cut loose, then I'll cut loose. So I'll do something vague. Like I said, old doesn't mean wiser. It just means, for me, older means getting older. What's it mean? I don't know yet. I'm not old enough to know that.
I think just more experience, right? And the more experience that you have, the more ways you're able just to let go and accept things as they are. You were explaining before to me in the conversation we were having earlier about just being able to kind of breeze over things that maybe in the past you would have held on to for a bit longer, whereas now that you've, gone through many different life situations, you're able to just be like, does this actually really matter to me, and should I invest my time into going around in circles around this situation, or am I better off just accepting it fully and letting it go? Would you say that was something that you have developed along the way?
I think it basically goes along values, and where energy spent, or where thoughts, or where you're spending your time, or how you're spending your time in that place inside of yourself. Nothing to do with anyone else, really. So it's how much I give it into that. It's we have one physical life. We have one magical chance to live it in whatever way that comes to us. Because someone might be living it very differently doesn't mean that they're not living it the way that they should be living it. I'm not here to judge people. If I don't believe in levels. I believe that we're just people going through this thing, doing whatever we're doing, and sometimes it gets bloody hard. I know what hard is. I know what it's like to experience that sort of stuff. And sometimes when that hardness is wondering why it is hard, it doesn't mean that it's hard, it's just that we don't understand the position that we're in life at this moment and what led us to that. And having that breather that we do at Tullabudgery Creek gives people at least a snippet, and I've seen it happen every time I've been there, a snippet of something, a snippet of non-whatever, and into a place of freedom. I watch everyone just go into this, like, I call it flatlining. Really, it's
just taking a pause on
and taking a pause, and it reassesses everything, and it goes, what was that? That's what I really needed. They know they need that. That's why they come there. And we're just sort of beating down all that other stuff while it's going on. That's what music does, that's what sound does, that's what good connection with self does. And we allow that to actually step up and into us. And when we do that, we get this great sense of self. We get a better sense of self. Because I believe that where there's this little energetic vibration moving around the place, and it picks up things while it's going on, it picks up other people's thoughts and other people's things, and am I there, so am I that. And sooner or later I've realised that I'm all of that and more, but how much of it do I want to hang on to, and all those sorts of things. So that's all part of life. I don't think in all my life that I've ever changed. I've quietened. I've got slower, and that's not because of my age. That's because I just want things to come at me slower. But I'm just as energetic. I'm just as fit and healthy, and I don't have nana naps in the afternoon like some young blokes do. So that's a pretty crazy thing. But yeah, but sometimes I do.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
You know, every now and again you need a good nap.
Yeah, you do. But I guess for me it's all around values. Life, I guess to me is just it's not 100 or 1,000 breaths. It's one breath. You get one chance, or you get one movement into something to feel it. Allow myself to feel. I'm not scared of my feelings, and that's very important. And my feelings change every day. They're going to renew themselves, just like the sun rises or the sun falls. It's different every day. It's never the same. There isn't a sunrise that's ever been the same. In the thousands of them that I've seen, and the meditations that I've done, and the breaths that I've taken. My big thing is now is that I do breath work every morning, and I'm wondering, am I taking somebody else's breath? Am I taking too many breaths? Am I spending too much time doing breath work in the morning? Do I sit and I meditate and I watch the sunrise? Oh, this is interesting. Oh, it is different. Oh, I'm different. I'm feeling different. What is it I'm feeling today? Sometimes it's just not clear. Sometimes it is. And there's a really true story in the part is all the answers are within you. So, and that's a hard one. When you realise that all the answers aren't in you, and you've got a really good question to ask that question, and you'll find out what comes out. Because all the answers aren't inside of the one person. Sometimes we need to reach a little bit more beyond that and realise that's where wisdom and old age comes in, or getting older comes in. But if you think all the answers are within you, then you're not going to ask anyone any questions, because they're not going to give you any answers, because you've got all the questions and the answers inside of you. So if you can let go of that theory, and you can connect a little bit deeper with someone like I did this morning, they knew all the answers were inside of them. But how are they going to get any answers from me if they just wanted the answers that were inside of them? They weren't really talking to me. So we weren't really connecting. And that's something that somebody taught me this morning. It's not something that I knew or got. I got that from the interrelationship. From the interaction, which is beautiful communication. That's where the preciousness can actually come from. So that's a really, really beautiful thing to learn about that this morning. So we got all these theories and gurus and people and many different things, and people go, no one has the answers. You know, we have conversations, and sometimes in those conversations beautiful things will come up and things will be shared which will just shake your world, and
it'll touch you.
It'll touch you in a certain place. It'll melt something away, and you wonder, why didn't I just get that? It was so simple.
Yeah.
But there's so many things to get through because our minds are you can teach someone to breathe, but what's in their mind, or what encompasses their whole mind, or what they're all about as this human being and this soul doing their thing, is different from yours, and it's there to do that for a reason. And it eats different, it sleeps different, it does all these things differently. It might be a woman or a man, it doesn't matter, or a child, and they breathe differently to you, and everything that goes on between them is so different. It's that difference that I'm always looking for, that part of me, the essence that I haven't touched on inside of myself, that I'm sort of looking for every time. That's what melts me away into these other areas of looking into myself, I guess. I'm not real big on releasing traumas. I don't believe they're traumas. I believe they're life experiences, and some of those experiences are pretty hard. But they're not necessarily traumatic. But there is such thing as trauma to the body that can happen, which is quite left field stuff. It's something very different again, through very, very adverse and very inhumane things done on people. But for the best part of it, a lot of people are dealing with these days are just being a person, or a being, or a human being. And what is that? So I always say to people now, one of the big things that comes to me is be interested in yourself. So be interested in that voice that talks to you, the one you don't want to listen to. So be interested in whatever that actually says. I'm not talking the voices in my head telling me what I'm doing. There's an essence that's a little bit beyond that. That it just whispers gently enough to you, and you can give it half a chance. It'll take you a mile further than you've ever been before. And then it gets stronger, and you start to listen to it. That essence that you listen to is your intuition kicking in. Just saying, can you listen to me for a minute? Don't eat the chocolate.
Yeah.
Just give me a second. I'm not eating the chocolate, and I'll take you on a different journey. Just don't have the drink. Don't have this, and I'll take you somewhere else, because that's what you're really looking for. You're not looking for that else difference in the drink. That's the same, but there is this whisper, and when you gently exercise that whisper, it's your gut and your intuition, your God self, talking to you, saying, pay attention to me for a minute, and I'm going to take you on something that you really want to listen to. You don't have to if you don't want to, but if you do, I'll take you somewhere where you really, really want to go. And you don't know where that is, and you never will, because your mind's not involved in it. It's the real kind of soul conversation with soul. And that's what I found in doing the style of breathing that I do. It's not breath work, it's breathing and praying and saying a prayer within that every morning. And hearing where that's taken me. And that's what's given me so much joy. It's not that someone outside of me taught me that. It's I've started listening
to the voice.
To the voice, and it's not a voice in my head, it's my soul talking to me. It's gone, hey, just come over here for a minute. Alright. I don't want to go over there. Because I don't want to go there is why I need to go there.
Yeah.
And it keeps opening up more and more of life's adventure. To me, that's what the adventure's really all about, is being able to adhere to that. It doesn't mean I don't get unhappy, it doesn't mean I don't get sad, it doesn't mean I don't get frustrated, it doesn't mean that my mind doesn't go crazy at times. All of those things are still there, but it's all part of me being this.
Yeah,
whatever
tapping in a little bit more.
Tapping in a little bit more every time and stuff like that. I don't think it's deeper, I think I've probably been too shallow most of my life.
Yeah. Can you explain your morning breathwork practice that you do? Can you explain how what process you go through? I'd really love to hear your specific process, because everyone has a different process, and it's really cool to hear what everyone else does.
Okay, so mine's more like a morning prayer. It's an exercise and to acknowledge the very thing that I took when I was born, which is my first breath. I was born at that point. If I did not take my first breath, whether it been enforced or whether the doctor helped or whether I got a slap on the ass, whatever that happened to make, or whether I screamed and shouted, the biggest shock I ever got in my life was taking that first breath, because I had to get my whole body to function. My body needed to function. That's what I've gotten to know through this cycle. I didn't get this from a doctor. This is what I've just got to know about myself. So I've taken that first breath, it's gone into a big shock, it's gone through struggles to get it going, to get my fingers doing this, to get my eyes doing that, to look at things, and to feel, to get my sensory system, all these amazingly incredible, organic, natural things happen to me in that first breath. And what I do every morning, I honour that first breath, I go back to that first breath, and I feel into it, I breathe in, it's into my solar plexus. It's a light breath. It doesn't have to be an exercise, it's just an acknowledgement of breathing into my breathing into it, and my chest just stays flat, and I'm breathing in and out
into your lower belly,
into my lower belly.
Yeah.
It's like watching a baby breathe, really.
Yeah.
And I'm exercising that, and then I notice there's this little pulse in there, and I'm always interested in, I keep breathing while I'm asleep. What keeps that going? My mind, my thinking. I'm asleep. I know I'm asleep because I'm really not there. Like I'm in the
off in la la land.
I'm off in la la land and blackness.
Yeah.
But my body is just. But this body keeps doing this thing. Why I don't even have to have my mind on it. I don't even have to think about it. There's nothing that I do. It automatically has this little pulse that keeps breathing. So to me, I'm acknowledging that first breath. And in that, at the end of what happens, and when I might do small holds, I don't try not to stress my body, I get in connection with my nervous system, which makes me feel really good. I get a deep connection with, I'm holding my breath, I'm not breathing, but hold on a minute, I'm still alive. I'm just watching my body's reaction to holding breath or releasing my breath. I'm not trying to do anything or push past anything or break down anything. I'm not trying to release traumas. I'm not doing anything. I'm just observing what my body's doing without it struggling. I don't want it to struggle. I just want it
fully
to
relax.
just relax into its stress part. And if it's stressing a little bit, then maybe I'm going too far. I'm pushing with my mind. Maybe I just need to listen to my body and see what it's actually doing. So it's all a part of that. So I do that cycle of my breaths. I do that probably 30 breaths 3 times in the morning. And sometimes that might go up to 300 or 400, 500 breaths. All depends on what the voice, where I'm at, what I feel like doing, where I'm really at. So there isn't any length or stretch, and it doesn't come into time frame. It's just the listening to the intuition, what it wants at that moment. And that's all part of my cycle, my natural cycle. And then what I do at the end of that is quite a deep silence and observation, and that's my prayer. I'm not asking, I'm not receiving, I'm not giving, I'm just sitting in the point of observation where I seem to be what most people maybe call centered. There's no mind activity at all, but just on the observation of where I'm actually sitting at the moment. So there is a little bit of activity there as well.
You're focusing on something.
Yeah, it's just like a void. It's a quietness. It's like a numbness, but a feeling of gentleness and warmth.
Focusing on the nothingness or the space that's within you.
Yeah. I mean, the mind's there, but it's not doing anything. Yeah. It's just quietly sitting there, and I'm observing this place. And to me, one would say, for me, it's like, there's God. I'm not asking anything from you. You're not asking anything from me.
It's just that underlying presence.
We're just kind of sitting here and we're observing each other. And to me, that's a witnessing of love. And that's what I get to. And that would be not every morning, but I would say 90% of my mornings.
You get to that place.
I get to that point. And I get to that point, I'm starting to realise now, as I age, as I get older, whatever, that I can be at that point all the time without doing the breath work or without doing the exercises or without doing the meditations. I do those because I want to learn more about what my body can and doesn't want to do and things like that. But it makes me feel really good. I enjoy it. So it makes me happy. It's a mix. It's a mix I've learned about. I mean, Jonty, I meditated for 15 years. Almost 15 years of my life. Every morning for 40 minutes to 2 hours.
Wow.
Every morning without fail. Doesn't matter where I was or what I did, who I was with or what I was about. And 3 times within that almost 15 years, I missed a morning.
Wow.
And I sat there one morning and said, what the fuck am I doing? I'm spending too much time sitting here watching the sunrise. Like, at some point, things need to change. They don't stay the same. To make the change, to realise why you do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm a guru. That means it's an exercise that was presented to me and I turned up and I did it to realise that all of a sudden I didn't have to do it anymore that way. So we're doing it in a different way.
Yeah.
I'm still now doing the same things I've always done, but they seem to be finely tuned.
Yeah, you've connected to a point, and that connection to that point has become so strong that you can kind of just tap into that at those points.
Yeah.
But then I think building that connection, or I feel that building that connection is something that does take a long commitment to, and a consistency of continually showing up for oneself and putting yourself in that place so you can build that bridge with your, I guess, like you said, love, or whether you want to call it God or spirit or source. So how would you relate to, how do you feel in the relationship to spirit or to God or to whatever universal consciousness? How does that show up in your life?
Like the first thing that comes to my mind and my thoughts is when I draw, I have no comprehension. I have a picture in my head what I would like to draw, but that's not what comes out. What comes out, I am totally convinced to this moment that I could not redraw it if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I love what I do. That's developed over 20 years or so of just playing with paints and drawings and sketching, and I'm kind of not shy of it, but I've got it tucked away and I've got all these little things, and I just keep drawing. I'm not doing it to become famous, I'm doing it because I just love doing it at different times.
It's a practice.
I do sound and music and stuff, not because I'm trying to make something out of it, I just like doing it. I'm not doing it because I want whatever at the end of the day. I'm learning it's got its functionalities. Yes, it needs to be funded and financed and all of these. I get all that sort of stuff, but I'm not doing it for all that stuff. I'm doing it just because I love doing it. It inspires me more. It keeps something rejuvenated and happy. And yet at the same time, sometimes it frustrates crap out of me that I just don't want to get up and do it. But when I turn up and it's happening, I just somehow melt into it. I'm always surprised every morning. Yesterday we go to do one this morning. No, yesterday I don't want to go. I just don't want to be there. And then I wake up this morning and go, geez, I'm glad I'm here this morning. I feel so cool. What's all that about? Doesn't matter. I'm here this morning. It's like, this is really good. And we 80 people up there and there's just you and I, and I'm just going, how am I going to do sound to 80 people?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. And I start playing, like I did, and you're like, that ditch is too loud on there. That's all right, John. You just put it on the ground. That's how it keyed on.
It was actually great. I love that.
It just did something, I just...
Everyone started looking around, they're like...
Yeah, and it's not me that did that. It's the interaction of you and I that did that. And the people there that did that. And there's something in that I love. I don't know the whole thing. I don't know how to talk about what that is. But there's something in that interaction that dances, and it's just this openness of just going like this. Well, that's not something that I've just uniquely gained over time. That's something that I've learned from you. That's not just something that I came out of me. That's something that you've given me, and I've accepted that from you. It's a gift you've given me, and I watch it time and time again. And there's other people in my life, they see that gift. If they see the gift of you, and they take it and they go, thank you very much, I'll have that. And you've met a soulmate, you've met a soul friend, you've met a soul companion that that's so pointed at that time. Everything else doesn't matter. But as long as that keeps happening to them and how that works, it's probably one of the most incredible, if you're talking spiritual moments, is that. What is that? I don't know, just throw it down there, we'll mic it up, and it's bloody loud. And it worked.
Yeah.
And everyone went. Straight away they heard the Yidaki being played, and straight away it triggered something, it keyed something to be in motion. That happens to me all the time when I do sound. I don't have to worry about that thing. And yet before, many years ago, I probably went, oh, what is that? It was very different. My sound that I do now is very different to what it was 12 months ago, 18 months ago, as you would know. When I first started, I could hardly breathe when I first started. And now I'm just going, let's just do this and let's go and we'll play a drum and let's get the big earth drum out and give that a beat. I don't know where it's going next. I'd like to travel more with it. Crazy stuff. But not crazy stuff, but really, really good soul stuff, really good moments in those places. I know that it's sound is a big part of my life, it always will be. I know that I'm supposed to do what I do. And I'll just keep doing whatever that is. Doesn't have to be anywhere in particular. But I think I'm continually working, continually moving to wherever I am I'm meant to be. And it's not separate from where I live in Byron Bay when I actually come up to here. Ask me a deep and meaningful question, Jonty.
A deep and meaningful question. Okay, the most deep and meaningful question I can ask you right now is, what is the meaning of life, Terence?
Right. That was the questions that you're looking for an answer to, and I just ain't got the answer to it. I watch a lot of movies and different movies, and I watch a lot of actors, and you see this kind of thing going on here. I thought, this is really cool. I always wanted to do it. Like I'm doing this thing that they're doing, and it's with Jonty. Does it have to be with some big famous actor that's up on the big screen and stuff like that? It's bizarre. You don't know how it comes. You just don't know how it's going to present itself.
Starts off somewhere.
So look at this. It's just it just starts from something, and you don't know where the next section goes. And that's most people's fear. We want to know. And if we don't know, then we're unsure, particularly men, because it'll rattle their brain, because we want to know. We love the adventure, but we want to know where the fucking adventure's going, because we want to control it. Well, it doesn't happen that way. I'm not talking about a spiritual journey either, I'm just talking about a man's journey. It's about releasing and letting go and just allowing it to present itself and having the courage to allow whatever presents itself to you, whether you want to say yes or no. I think that mental health issues come from not being able to understand what your intuition's saying as opposed to what other people are telling you what to do and how to react to it all. That's where mental
letting the
health
voices of others overtake.
Yeah, the voices of others, the voice around. We're very sensitive. We can pick up things, and I know when my friends are hurting. I know when they've got troubles going on. I can sit in that and I can meditate in that. I can hear it. I know when my own stuff is. I know when my friends have got things going on. I allow myself to feel it, and that's one of the big things with all people is allowing yourself to feel. We get tired of feeling because we feel so much. But it's one of the beautiful things to actually do. A friend told me that years ago when I was visiting in Thailand. I said to her, normally I don't like what I feel. I'm tired of feeling things all the time. She went, I love my feelings. And bang, it hit.
That was a big
that was
sliding
a big,
doors moment in your life.
That was a big one. That was like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That was said to me, and I went, I don't love my feelings. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I've never thought about that before. Like, how just what do I do? And I went, I could have, you know, what is it? No. Oh, all right. And I tried it, and it worked. It changed. It made changes. So not only in those moments, and we're still great friends. I don't have I have an idea what I would like it to do, but I've seen that when I'm looking at it, never reaches great highs or great lows. I'm just going through something. I'm seeing people now where I used to be in parts of my life. They're in this point at moment in their life, and they say to me, "You've been here, haven't you?" I said, "Yes, I know that place, and I can't get you out."
Only you can, right?
Only you can. But if you have something that you want to talk about, and if you can, we can change. We can exchange some communication. If you're looking for an answer, maybe I can help you. I can't give you the right answer.
Yeah.
But maybe something I say.
I can show you the way, but you have to walk it ultimately.
Yeah. If you have all, go back to that saying before. If you have all the answers inside of you, who the hell are you going to talk to when you want to ask a question?
Yeah.
You've got the answers, so why are you bother talking to me? I mean, it's a bit.
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? That's a conundrum that I sit with. Like, yeah, I know I have all the answers, but when you say it like that, it's like, well, yeah, why would I seek?
Yeah, you're telling me you don't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
You don't want to think I've got anything of value to you.
By almost being ignorant and to believe that we have all the answers, but because we are all the same and we're all interconnected, like I would say there is that connection that we have. We have the connection to all the answers, but the connection to the certain answers we might need probably isn't within us, and we have to build that connection by connecting with someone else.
It's like you have a guy that's an electrician and a plumber and a mechanic. I'm not any three of those things. I can do those things, bits and pieces. And an electrician I don't want to know about because it's just too close to me. But we go to those people and we want answers because we trust that we don't know it, so we go there for the answer. So we do have to be open. That's what openness is really all about. It's about allowing yourself to actually open your mind up. That we don't have what's really there, and if we don't, where do we seek it? Go and seek it. Go and find it.
Ask for help. I think that is also one of the biggest reasons why mental health is so prevalent, particularly in men. You know, I think men, it's 2/3 of suicides are men on this planet, and all too often I've been in this experience many times in my life where I need help. I really need help in some way, but there's this part of me, this arrogance or this ignorance within me that won't reach out and ask the question, ask for support, or even just ask to be heard. So how would you say that you've been able to develop that within yourself where you actually can reach out? You know, you can go beyond thinking that you can figure it all out to going, hey, no, actually I need help.
Right, so if you don't know how to ask for help. And you're in a place and you need help. You don't know what help is that you require. You don't know what questions to ask. I don't know. If I'm in that place, I ask 3 simple questions. Is it mine that I'm sensing that's on my mind? Is it someone else's? Or is it the community at large? Now, as a community at large, we can sense and feel how communities run, and that's what a king's all about. He sits in his kingdom and he senses how his community's running, and he deals with it, right? So he knows if it's his problem or someone else's problem, and then he converts with other men in other groups to work out little issues and stuff like that. I always say 3 things: is it mine? Is it yours? Or is it community at large that I'm sensing, that I'm feeling? I feel that a lot of the time, because we are beings of sensitivity or interaction, energy interaction, so a lot of it's not ours. We're picking up the energy of what's just either one floating around, tilted shadows, community at large. It's what being a man's all about. Going through different things as you go into and through initiating yourself or passing through life. You're going to front these things. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the Dalai Lama or whoever you're about. From one point to the next point, you will witness things that you don't know that are on your journey, but all of a sudden they're on your journey. You don't know if they're yours. You're just passing through all these memories of what it's like to be a man. So if you're spiritual and you're here and you're just a baby, and all of a sudden you're going to go, here we go, I'm going to live, hopefully, to experience all these things that are lined up for me. Am I going to feel? Am I going to be suicidal? Am I going to commit suicide? Am I going to be the one that does it? Or am I just going to feel it and go through it? And yet some men will actually commit that, which is, some people say that's a crime against humanity, against themselves, right? They're doing something that's bad against themselves. I don't know about that. So they get to a point they just can't take where they are. So life's taken away from them. Did they take it away from them? I don't know. Yeah. So I've been through this for 4.5 years. So I got to a point of, what is this? Is it mine? Is this what men feel when they get to this place in their life? It gets too hard, it gets too confusing. What is this? I'm just being shown something, and I'm feeling, I'm sensing all of these feelings around me. And I got to a point where I had to stop worrying about everybody else's health and everybody else, because I was a carer. I worked in palliative care and aged care and disabilities care. I loved it. I loved helping people. It was really cool. I played music and all sorts of stuff. Worked in culture, mobs, all sorts of things. And then just kind of took what that was actually sitting there and just went, well, all of these men, a majority of these men have felt all of these things along their road, or they've known someone, or it's come into their thoughts somewhere in their mind. If you open up that can of worms, it's come in that space somewhere. You've either crossed someone, you've met someone, or you're telling me someone else is doing it. But I nearly guarantee you most blokes my age have come across somewhere in there, whether you're a doctor or a psychiatrist or a counsellor, whatever you are, you've had that point of questioning life, questioning, can you take your own life? And that's supposed to happen somewhere.
I've been there many times.
And it's to learn something about your existence. It's not there to really about what it's like to be a man. We witness so many things. So it's not just about getting married, having children, building a house, building a job. And it's all the mentality behind men. And what is a man built of? He's built of all of these things. A man is so built of all of these structured things and sensitivities. You get to realise how sensitive we are. We're just like, wow, we can suck it and then lap it up. And you can, if you're aware enough or awake enough or whatever consciousness is these days, and just get a feel for what's around you, you know someone's it's suicidal. You know if it's yours or it's theirs or if it's the shadows. And the diversity of it all, the diversity of who we are is incredible. I feel we haven't even touched on what we really are. And we say a lot of people I know at the moment are all into this thing about hang around with people that are conscious. I mean, what the fuck is that? You've already just told me you're unconscious by telling me hang around with conscious people. So you've just rejected how many people that you could experience in your life. They might be totally unconscious but conscious at the same time, or it's because you're more conscious than what they are. Like, I lost something here, and I'm like, no, I'd rather be not conscious or unconscious. I'd rather just be trying to be around at the moment and not get lost in any degree or any type or way of being, but just I guess I'm here to experience a lot of things. I hated my feelings, and I re-loved my feelings in a different way. My feelings and my thoughts change every day. I might say this to you today, and then tomorrow it might change, because there's an allowance I can change.
We're constantly changing, right?
We're constantly, and our feelings are constantly renewing and refreshing, and it's that part. And I think what we want to do is hang on to something so fucking tight that we just know that little bit's not going to fucking leave us. And I think when we realise that isn't going to happen, that's when we're free. We really want to find something which really defines each single person, you particular, me particular, them over there or that. I just want that little thing. It really defines this is who I am. It just does it. It ties the knot. It makes everything just fucking right. When we realise that ain't going to happen, then we're free. That's what freedom is to me. It just ain't going to happen. Wars aren't going to stop. No one can stop the battle in you. You know?
It all starts from within.
It all starts in this whole thing of what's going on. So
if we're trying to define ourselves and chase a life where we're trying to really figure out who we are, we're not really that free, are we? We're trapped in a cage of trying to figure out something that is actually completely undefinable in its essence, right? So yeah, it's a really beautiful way to describe it and to put a bit of an understanding around this. Probably an endless chase that a lot of humans are on. What is it? What's the meaning? Who am I? What am I here for? And I think we can momentarily come into phases of our lives where we have a certain purpose. It might be a purpose that lasts for the rest of our lives. It might be a purpose that lasts for a season. And I think when we can connect to those and understand, yeah, cool, okay, that resonates with me in the moment, and that is my truth for now, and I'm going to run with that and play with that until it gets to the point where it no longer is my truth. And then we get to discover something new. We get to go back into that unknown phase.
And what you're talking about is having an interest in yourself, self-love. You've got an interest in yourself. You've got an interest in that voice that wants to do this, and no, it's going to do so long, and it's not going to last, and I'm going to be adventurous enough to know it's not going to last, and it's going to change, it's going to become something else. But you as you in it will be the same. But you as you go through it and feel and sense it will be a little bit different every time. It'll be more appreciative of different circumstances and what life is really all about. So it continually declutters if it wants or desires, and it continually opens up this new can of worms, or this new can of things inside of you, which is just really lovely to actually experience.
Like you keep touching into and feeling into more of your own essence, essentially, right? As we grow, and obviously our physical bodies are changing, right? I think they say in 7 years our full physical composition is completely different because our cells recirculate and change over, and we grow new cells, right? And even things like the liver, they say 2 years your liver is a full new liver, so you can heal it in that amount of time. So as we grow and as we develop as human beings, we're in this constant state of flux, and in that constant state of flux, when we accept it, we move with it, that's when we can continue to discover more and more and more beautiful things about us and about the world as well. I'd like to understand a little bit more about who have been some of your biggest teachers in your life.
Well, who would that be? First one that comes to mind is my father. which way I could speak of him, I don't know. I think it was his silence.
Like a presence or a silence?
He's not into relationship with me, not interrelating from a whole lot of communication. I didn't see that as good or bad or anything. It's just the way it was. So, and if I'd learned something different from somebody else, I still wouldn't say that it was any different or any worse than what I got from my father. It's just as good. I didn't have an expectation of it either way. The second one would be influences around my mother, both of them around love and what love became or was or what they went through in their lives. Once again, not a lot of communicative stuff, but to me that seemed normal. It's not like today, mum didn't talk to me, so this is going on. I didn't have all that stuff going on. Dad didn't talk to me.
You're showing up through action, right?
They were just there every day. They got up every morning and they were there. They didn't run off and, they had their arguments, had their fights, had their interrelation the way that it was. But I always felt like they were present. They were very, super present. They were not in my life. I think that's what I'm trying to say, is they were not in my life. They were always there. The essence and the connection never left me until they passed away, and even then it hasn't left me. So I felt chords break and chords snap. I felt them passing away inside of me, what my interpretation was of them when they both passed. But their presence was always there, their connection to each other was there, their connection to us, their children was there in whatever way, shape or form that came. It was never not there. So that's a question which I've never related to or spoken into like that before. Whereas, even the same, my brother passed away many years ago in a very bad accident. I still feel a connection with him. It's like it's still there, but not there physically, but there. My two sisters I haven't seen in a while. For whatever natural reasons. It's nothing to be tormented about. I don't feel disconnected from them. Even though they're not there, I haven't seen them in years, but I don't feel I'm disconnected from them. And I learned something in recent times is the problem that we have in relationships is when we disconnect with the other person. That's when it hurts. And it's about staying connected regardless of the situation. I would say it doesn't mean you have to be with that person, but you can still stay connected inside yourself, I guess. That's something cool. I don't believe that we can actually disconnect from anyone.
No, we're connected.
We're energetically, it's just there's this ball of energy that's floating around. We can say, hey, I don't need that sort of relationship with myself, or that's happening with me in my life.
It's like a mind block is how we disconnect, right?
Yeah. Well, mind block doesn't really work. It's just like, it's a power trip, I think.
Yeah.
I just don't do that. Influential, another gentleman comes to mind. I had the chance to work in palliative care with a beautiful man by the name of Terry Barber. Tim's father, we'll go into that. Tim's father, great-grandfather was Rio Tinto BHP Bilton. He's the founder of that company, which is quite big. Anyway, Tim was a grandchild. And I had the chance to work with Tim for a while. And it was a great honour because I became a gentleman's gentleman, which is the thing you don't hear of all that much. But I got the chance to look after a man that had been done and seen and could speak in a way that it's not heard of that much anymore from elder men in groups. It's not from a point of authority or I know better, but from a point of this is the way I did this and this is what hurt me when I did this. This is why I did that. And you would take a deep breath and a thought and really go inside and bring out this essence inside of me. I had a lot of respect for him and what he was about. And a beautiful, beautiful man. I still, his passing was a great big thing for me. I always said he's not allowed to die, not while I'm alive. But he did. lot of respect for he and his family. Incredible people. And not only, there's many other people too. I worked for a gentleman for 10 years, managing a service station. I had a lot of respect for him as well. There's so many things and so many places I've been and so many people that I've met, I don't know.
Just a combination
of so many things, and particularly my two sons.
Yeah, wow, I can imagine.
They get up every morning and they do what they've got to do. They might not like it, but they get on with it and they do what they've got to do. And that makes me proud that they just get up every morning, whether they understand everything that's going on or not, whether I have the answers or not, which I don't. I've been practicing to be a father, being a father, since I was born. I don't know how to, I still don't know what that's like. And I'm going to be a grandfather soon, so now soon I'll be practicing to be a grandfather. And then I'll have daughter-in-law soon because my son's getting married in Italy in September, my oldest son. So then I'll be practicing what's it like to have a daughter-in-law. I don't know because I've never had one. So all these things they open up and their experiences that they're bringing to me. What's it like to go to Italy to win? Well, I don't know, but I'm about to find out. Like, where did that? Those things. Where did they come from? I didn't invent them, but I'm walking into life with them. It's a big thing. So inspiration. There's a few other things that sometimes I really don't know what inspires me to keep going.
But something does.
Something motivates me to get up in the morning and keep going. And I think it's the great joy into meeting other people like yourself, Jonty, that still get up, still keep going, still in the wonderment of why the hell do we keep getting up and keep going. But then this other thing keep moving. And I really enjoy seeing people. I've seen that in you. I love mentoring. I love sitting on the side and watching people progress. Mentoring for me is about, are you on track or are you off track? Is this what you really want to do? It's not about me helping you or holding your hand. I know you can do it. I know people can do what they want to do.
And you can stand there and just hold the energy, right?
And not necessarily hold the energy. Watch them hold the energy.
You're just there you're as the support energy. It's just there, and you can witness that other person going through their process and not try and jump in and tell them to do things and change them. It's just to let them understand it and figure it out on the way, right?
One of the hardest things is aloneness, being alone, feeling alone. It can really make or break you. And it doesn't matter who you are through life at different stages, you'll feel it at different depths. It doesn't matter when you reach 30, 40, 50, 55, 60, it hits you somewhere different. Along the way, you think you've dealt with it, but you haven't. You think you've had that, and you think you've dealt with that memory, but no, this one comes up. And where did that come from? I didn't even remember I had that there. So these things open up in the times when they're supposed to, and I feel they're there to show you that you're alive. You've lived all of these moments in your life. You haven't forgot about them, and we are like a laptop computer. That's what's inside of us. Our answers to react or interact with ourselves differently at every time to make changes, which is a beautiful thing to actually do. And how do we actually do that? And I've heard you speak already how many changes you want to make directly because your laptop needs changing. And you want to push different buttons. You want to react differently or be differently, and the way to get to that next place is, this is what you've got to do.
Go through it.
And it's about, go through it, go into it, understand it, and allowing it to be there. I don't know if you have to go through anything, but you have to allow it to be there. You have to allow it to sit in it, to feel it, to understand it, to breathe in it.
To it as well.
Surrender to it. Meditation for me is not about stopping anything, it's about allowing everything to be there. It's about, here I am, all this is going on, you come here too, whatever. Chocolate cornettos, I've had too many today, let it be here. Whatever the substance is, not block it out, but allowing it to be there with you. And breathing with it allows yourself to surrender to it, and at that point you realise just how powerful you are, because everything's there. Every day you get up and everything's going on, and you can be the most craziest person, have the most head stuff going on in the world, but you're still breathing. That's pretty amazing.
That's pretty phenomenal.
It's pretty phenomenal.
I think that is a really beautiful beautiful way to finish this conversation. And
Cool bananas.
yeah, and could you share your social media tag just so anyone out there, if they want to find you? What is it? First Breath?
Wow. Yeah, First Breath on Instagram.
Yeah, I'll tag it in the show notes
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So if you want to find Terry, if you want to do any work with Terry, he does one-on-one sound healings. Any other things that you do on the Gold Coast?
Sound immersions.
Sound immersions.
And breathing.
And breathing.
Your breath,
Yeah.
not mine.
Yeah.
Listening to sound in nature.
Yeah.
And mentorship. I love mentorship. It's something that sort of I'm leaning in towards and finding out really what that's all about for people that are into that. And it comes along in many, many different ways, shapes or forms. So
Yeah, beautiful.
I can't teach you, you can teach yourself, but I'd like to be around you while you're doing it. It'd be cool.
Cool. Well, I'll put that in the show notes as well. So if you want to get in contact with Terry, the link will be in the notes. Thank you all so much for listening, and thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Jonty. Love you, mate. Thanks for this chance.
Boom. Yeah.